Welcome to the Verite Alchemy podcast, filmed inside the Blue Room studio located inside of Gallery 8. I'm documentary filmmaker and your host, Shannon Robinson, and we've got the beautiful Jane behind the desk. Hey. And we have our special guest today, Andrew Maddog Hensel. How are we, mate?
Yeah, I'm well.
So, Andy, I guess we'll let the viewers know first up that we are actually making a film about your life, aren't we? And we are actually backed by Screen Queensland right now and about to go into a development phase of filming so we can pitch your film out to the world.
Yeah, it's exciting times. I just got your email yesterday. I'm like, well, things are moving ahead now.
So the rest of this year is going to be quite exciting, isn't it? I mean, you've got a lot going on. And then amongst all that, I need to chase you around with a camera so we can film this thing and package it up so we can present your story to some broadcasters and some big dogs.
Yeah, that's all right. Just got to catch me when you can.
Well, that's the challenge, man. Just one sec, just pull that mic right under your chin there, if that's all right. Perfect. So Andy, tell me, mate, what's been happening? What's going on in your world right now?
Oh, my world's pretty flat out as usual, but the balance has been good. Been a bit of an adventure this year. I went back to starting. Oh, the whole year was the start of it. You'd say it was a bit per usual. Everything was a bit like chaotic and ambitious and locked in.
As always. Can I just jump in quickly and just say that Andy is the first ever paraplegic full-size dirt bike backflip.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it's a roundabout. We need like an acronym for it or something. You know?
It's so long.
Yeah. I was the world's first paraplegic to flip a dirt bike. It's probably a bit more.
And not into you've done it in a foam pits, but it's to a giant like dirt mound, right? Like it's a freestyle motocross down ramp it's just all earth.
That's right. Yep. So, that's the typical landing for a freestyle motocross rider or the motocross jumps. I know. We had it graded. In 2014 it was. But man, that was a few years ago now. That was 10, 11 years ago. 2014, yeah. So 2 years after my accident. So that was pretty surreal moment in life and in time, I think, on my journey. That was, I don't know if it was reclaiming or the refusal of not letting the disability that you've just suffered, start to define how you're going to live life. Just by, what would you say, the spectrum of disability. When you first get into it, you're like, oh, I've snapped it back and you can't use your bladder, your bowels, your feet, your core. I'm paralysed from T7, so I broke T5, 6 and 7.
That means what, from that point on, like your sternum type, what's it, your solar plex type thing?
Yeah,
like around that area?
plex, yeah.
Downwards.
Yep. So it's, a couple of fingers underneath the nipples. That was just a surreal thing. I was laying in hospital and, I needed some inspiration and I did some research into, what paraplegic people have done and doing. I sort of come up sort of blank. Like there wasn't too much exciting stuff there for me. There was the typical role stuff of like your wheelchair stuff, your wheelchair basketball, murder ball, and some pretty epic stuff. And it didn't really click. I had a couple of cracks at it.
But nothing that really tickled your fancy in terms of, I guess you're more of an extreme sports fan type thing.
Yeah.
Motocross sports. Yeah.
It's hard to cater for this bloke sometimes, mate. Like, even I'm living my life and I'm like this bloke. Just
you just like settle down, will you?
Yeah. Like something's like, we could be talking or something. We could be doing an activity that's pretty casual, and then something crazy over there is I'm just getting distracted by it. Give us a go. So, I ended up finding a Japanese fella. His name evades me, but he was a paraplegic and He was doing 72-foot jump into the foam pit, but he was practicing whips, and he was phenomenal.
And what's a whip?
A whip's where you carve on the motorbike on the up ramp, you carve it, and you can.
Oh, it's kind of like a tail whip kind of roll thing. I think I've seen it. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, there's different variants, and it's changing now with different bikes and electric bikes. But yeah, this Japanese guy was whipping as if nothing had changed, and I was like, wow, that's all me. Awesome. I think we chatted a little bit on Instagram, just touching base, and
this is like recently after you've had your crash and you've broken the back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I spent 7 months in rehab, and this was while I was in Hampstead in Adelaide. And yeah, I come across this Japanese fella. I think his name started with an E, but yeah, he was whipping, and it was really exciting to see someone, not letting the injury or the potential of, the future, sort of demise or like get rid of his hope. He got back into it and strapped himself back on and was absolutely sending it.
Like overcoming those limitations despite the odds.
Yep. And just holding on to the hope that there is still life out there that you want to live. You're able to do it. And, my brain was already running pretty wild with, the possibilities of it. Like it was exciting to find the refusal or the rebellion against it. Because you're going through like all the possibilities, and then you're researching stuff and nothing's been done. I'm like, yeah, but this is a whole new world. It's like living another life inside this life. You didn't die, but...
So does that open up a pathway for you at that time in your life to trailblaze in a way? That's what excites you. You needed the trailblaze in a way.
Yeah, well, the opportunity was there. And people may not have, wanted to do it, or no one was interested in. So to me, that was, I don't know, it was an opportunity there to show people and myself what's definitely possible. And yeah, coming across the Japanese rider, he was trying to get into X Games. People were pushing to get him into the normal X Games for whips because they were that good.
Right. So he was doing that, showing what he was doing, and then that was opening up career pathways and other like professional opportunities to advance.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And to ride with, other riders, fellow riders, mates that haven't had injuries.
Right. Did you feel, and this is a quick little question, I don't want to go on too much of a tangent, but did you feel, just from what you just said there, that when you did have your injury, it was kind of like you were sort of almost unplugged from the culture, from the community, the FMX community in a way, and by doing your flip and by maybe opening up some of those career pathways, it's kind of you're still on that journey to sort of being included or involved in like that level of camaraderie and culture in the FMX community, but also at the level you want to be at as well.
Yeah. So yeah, you're damaged, your body's damaged, and then there's internal things as well that's damaged as well. As much as I did my best and I didn't let things too much affect me, I'll just, as you say, pull your socks up and keep running or whatever and keep going. There are things there that need to be addressed, and you can be surrounded by, which I was, the FMX community and the people that love you and want to support you on your journey of walking or whatever it may be. But the main thing is to be walking and regain what you've lost, and that it's a beautiful part. It was really eye opening and heartwarming to have people from around Australia come for a fundraiser and ride their shows and support the journey itself, because each jump that we jump as freestyle motocross riders, you don't know what the potential is. We put hope and faith that everything's going to be good, and then judged on our skill level, and then external factors, winds, bike, whatever, that we're going to be okay. But there are always going to be a % that it's not going to be.
Like it's always kind of a roll of the dice in a way, because there's things outside your control that you're trying to manage going into that type of circumstance, I guess, or that situation.
Yep.
It's we might pull up some footage in post because you just mentioned the fundraiser that everyone got together for with you. And there's actually some footage of that online that I think I scraped at one point, which we'll pull up. It was actually quite beautiful, isn't it? There was like a lot of people came together for you on that, for that fundraiser.
Yeah, there were bands. We had live music all the way through to the freestyle motocross portable setup. So that's a truck with a down ramp.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a transformer if you want to. It'll transform into a down ramp, and then they've got a ramp there. So we had all the best riders in Australia rocking up there, and then riding in the middle of Port Pirie, South Australia. So the mayor got on board, and me and him went for a ride, around the trotting track. So everyone put on a fantastic event. Benny Heinrich and his team, and my mum, a lot of others had contributed a lot of time and energy into organising that. But seeing everyone come together and support, it was pretty awesome.
The solidarity, and that's quite beautiful.
Yeah,
it really is. And is this happen? This fundraiser. Is this happening not long after the crash? Have you just come out of hospital? Have you done your flip on the dirt bike yet?
I had done. No, not the big bike. I'd flipped the CRF 50 into the foam pit.
And that's like a smaller, like
mini bike
type thing. Yeah. So that's when, because let's just jump back for a sec. So there was a point where you're out of hospital, but you're back hanging in with, your community, your friends that are all hanging out at the foam pit, right? Doing all their flips. And there was a point there where you've spoken to me about where there was a lot of built-up frustration about being sidelined after the injury and watching everyone sort of participate in this sport that you love. Tell me about that moment and how that led to this idea for the flip.
Well, there's a couple of tangents we're going on.
Yeah, we're going to bounce around, man. It's all good.
Good, that's all right. That's good. All right. So the Japanese fella inspired me because he didn't let that, stop him.
Yeah.
And it's the only person I could find that was going to be relative to my story, my journey, and my energy levels of, send it.
You kind of felt like a less alone in your journey because you've seen that guy doing that thing that you could connect with. Yeah.
So he unfortunately lost his life in a foam pit fire.
Oh, you're kidding me.
So that was only a few months after my accident as well, after finding him in hospital.
A foam pit fire?
What? Yeah, because when you're whipping, you're using the gyro of the engine. So when you're flat out, the gyro pulls the rear wheel and it helps you control and dance the motorbike in the air.
Right.
And if you hit the brakes, the front brake, rear brake, that will stop and dance the bike as well in a specific way.
And that's creating a lot of heat, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So if you're doing whips, rebuild. So if you're whipping all day, it's like everything's just spitting flames and red hot. So you need to use fire retardant foam, and there's a lot of safety precautions to be doing that. So when I was flipping, I'm on the limiter to help bring the gyro, help bring the bike around.
Right.
Once you spot, you can, button off and just ride it out. But each time you get in there, you're just switching it straight off and then clearing all the foam pit away from the exhaust pipe, because the header is going to be, potentially glowing red hot, and that's danger zone. So,
wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. So he's died in a foam pit fire during practice or during doing his thing. And this is before you decide to start doing this.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that was really, really heartbreaking.
That's horrible, man.
Yeah, because it was an inspiration. He was the dude that I was looking up to, and you didn't mention it to anyone or anything. It's just my internal goal.
Yeah.
So you just watch and you're like, shit, man. This is.
And you've been in contact with him, asking him like tips and everything.
Yeah. So
that's heartbreaking, man. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that was a bit of an eye opener. So then I was able to just continue after that. Yeah, able to continue using inspiration from him to work out. I'm like, that's a danger for everyone, which is the foam pit fire. And being strapped to the motorbike, the whole catastrophic.
So there's no such thing as safe when you're doing that. When you're wanting to, you can sort of make it safer, less risky. But even with that foam pit, which seemed like a fairly safe situation from someone I don't know anything about motocross, never really ridden. But yeah, that is quite dangerous still.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Even if you got a 2-stroke that doesn't run as hot as a 4-stroke, you know, and the bike lands in the foam pit and then it bounces back up, your bottom or your back, if you land on top of the bike and the bike's already on its way back up and you're falling from 40 foot or whatever, you're coming down, and like the broken backs and femurs and all that's happened in the foam pits. It's definitely not a safe like sport to be doing, you know?
So this is really important to understand, because you've told me that you were at the park. So this has already happened, and there's a moment like the death of the other rider in the foam pit fire, that you've kind of looked up to, and been getting, you know, I guess, some form of like long distance mentorship from, and then you're at the foam pit with, you know, your community, and then you're left out, but then you decide that you're going to flip. Is that what happens with you there? Because I think there's a moment you describe where you kind of like, well, I reckon I could flip that bike, the smaller one, and then that kind of progresses from there. Is that right?
Yeah. In a roundabout way, like. This bloke, like, you just don't know what happens until it's happening. Like, you've experienced this, and
you can't.
We'll touch on that.
It's coming through you. You're not controlling this, right? Like it's happening to you.
Yeah, like I'm like here. I'm like, I guess we're doing this now. Like the thought process of it, like
it's so what you're getting is it's kind of hard for you to go back and break it down, like how you thought about it. It kind of just like it's like you're doing it. It's happening. You're compelled to do it, and there's not a lot of like control over it either.
Yeah, the opportunity presents itself. Like I think what happens is, like, I was inspired by that. Obviously, I was still on a mission after a bit of adversity earlier days, and and I really wanted to continue and pursue that original goal, which was travel the world, do freestyle motocross, traveling the world, save up the money, get a property in Queensland. And yeah, coming out of hospital, or still in hospital, sorry, and you're going to see your friends ride, and you are on the bench, or you got couch time, we call it, when you're injured, you're on some couch time, rightio. But then mine's well more severe than, just a broken arm or something. So I think that maybe it was, you could probably maybe label it anxiety or something about how long you're going to be benched for.
Because your injury was a little bit trickier, because it wasn't a full sever of the spinal cord, was it? It was more like a crushing of the spinal cord or something like that. Did you say? Like it was still connected?
Yeah, it's still connected. It was bruised from T3, T4 to T8. So it's a significant amount that was bruised, and I folded over my neck brace. So the Alpine Star neck brace was, on the, obviously rested on T5, 6 and 7, around that area. And when I headbutted the ground, I scorpioned over that. So that's what caused me to break my back. That's my belief anyway. To whether it saved my life or not, we don't know. That's what it is.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So the spinal cord itself was damaged, and that's when you're dealing with, nervous systems. And now, instead of a broken bone, which you can heal a broken bone in a month or two if you want, but, now you've got something that's a bit more complex, and it's the unknown. So,
and because it was still connected and just bruised, more so than completely severed, there's that question mark for you, isn't there? When you're there, with the couch time, term that you used, not knowing how long you're going to be in that situation, and I guess that creates like an itch and an anxiety for you when you're there seeing everyone else participate.
Yeah. So the itch is true. And I wasn't going to let it stop me. I was going to continue moving on, and with maximum hope and, you know, faith that it's going to be okay.
Mm.
And I guess I recall that just quickly that the day of the crash, I remember coming to. I didn't get knocked out or anything, but
The crash at the Australian champs when you broke the back. Yes.
Yeah. The national. So I remember just coming to, and the dust had settled, and the boys had all come round and were, you know, their heads are popping into my vision because I knew something was wrong. I'm not moving much at all, just my neck a little bit, until you do the proper self-assessment, you know, and things were tingling and things were obviously buckled. So you're not really moving too much, and they were popping in. And I remember saying, like, you're coming to of like what potentially has happened, and you're going like, man, it's all good, man. Or obviously you can't feel things as you're moving down. You're doing your self-assessment, and you can't feel your stomach because that's where your hands go, and then your groin, and then your legs, and you're like, and then I remember saying to the boys, like, it's all good. Like, it'll be 3 months. Like, give us 3 months, fellas. And then the wave of emotion of like grief and acknowledgement of what is actually unfolding, because the little whisper in your ear is like, everything's different now.
Mm.
And that's when I was laying there in the dirt, and I'm like, everything's different now. I'm like, wow. And then when you're coming to and you've got the boys around that still had to ride the next day, you go and like compete. I'm going, it's all good. We got 3 months. 3 months, it's fine. And then you go through like a couple of tears, and you just, and then you bring yourself back, and you're like, probably 6 months. Look, guys, it's fine. It will be right. 6 months. And then go back to having tears. And then the next wave, that was the next wave. And then after that, you bring yourself to be strong for the present with the boys. And you're like, oh, it's spinal shock. I'm sure it's spinal shock. And that's, 9 to 18 months. I'll be back next year. We'll be good. Like, and you're describing these things, but it's a full wave effect. So, you're always going for the best options, and that keeps that mental clarity or that mental space positive as much as it can be.
Finding some kind of hope moving through it.
Yeah, just projecting as the best outcome. Because you are living in a scenario that's extremely dire, you don't even know if you got internal bleeding, but self-assessed, whatever I'd done internally was, this is it's never going to be the same. That was the direct whisper I got. So,
and that's in the immediate few years of the injury.
It was an immediate half hour,
half hour, and it kind of, it comes in waves. Yeah.
Yep. And then once you're going through the hospital and everything's super serious, then you're going, okay, I will be sidelined. This is going to be a mission in itself now. This is not life about going back to your 9 to 5 job. This is not about all that is scrapped. Like, forget everything. This is now a brand new life that you got to live.
And this might be a difficult question, and I apologize if it is. Do you ever, in that kind of situation, do you ever really accept that situation? Do you ever truly accept it, do you think?
It's a bit of a difficult one. It's a blessing in disguise sometimes, because I've been able to do so much with my life with this injury. It hasn't been the end of the world. It's been the end of that life. And in that life, I cramped so much in, Shannon. Like, in that 22 years, I'd lived 6 lifetimes pretty much, like 7,
Yeah.
People wouldn't have done 3/4 of the shit that I did when I was in that first 22 years of living. And it's just the same as now. Everything's just, you don't know where you end up, and you don't know what you're up to until you're there, and you're like, oof.
I mean, like, look what you've done so far. Like, we'll get into it later on in the podcast, but like, that's the reason why I want to make a film about your story, man, because you've done such incredible things in your lifetime, lived such an amazing life, and the things you're doing now and continue to do. For me, when I see your story, it doesn't stop. When I've spoken to commissioners and broadcasters that are interested in your story. They're like, oh, what's Andy up to doing? What's he doing now? Or what, what's happened in the past? And that some people can get caught up in what you've already achieved. But I'm like, hey, like Andrew is always doing something. There's going to be something else, because that's just the type of person he is. It's in your DNA, isn't it? To adventure and seek out something to conquer.
It's a mad quest. Yeah, life is a quest. I enjoy it. Like, even I sit here and just observe myself, like, where you're meditating, you're doing your creek, sitting by your creek, and you're just like, this bloke, just, I'll give you a day or two, just calm your farm, make a little game plan, because, yeah, you're keen for adventure and the quest. The quest it never ends, and even having this broken back and the adversity before that, it was like the quest never ends. Like, charge on. So
I love it, man. And like I introduced you before as, you know, first ever paraplegic backflip on a dirt bike, but that's like something you've done, which is it's fucking incredible, by the way. But that's just a small part of your story. Like, you know, there's so much more to your story than doing that flip, you know, everything you've done beyond beyond that. And then there's things, you know, you've done recently, world para wakeboard champion, which is freaking incredible. And then we'll get into this now, but I love the story of how you got to this point. But you've also launched your own charity, What Disability, and that's all about empowering people living with disabilities to participate in more adaptive sports, more thrill-seeking type of sports, rather than, you know, I work in the disability sector, so I sort of know what's out there, and there's a lot of beautiful work that everyone does to help people with disabilities get out in the community and participate and be inclusive, and the whole social cohesion type of aspect with different programs they can do. But yours is definitely different. You really want to encourage people that want to do it to see where the boundaries are for them. Hey.
Yep. Yeah. I think I drew inspiration from, you know, not finding anything, and I was just there in the world by myself. And I'm like, imagine it, how many other people are like me that are adventurous. And I've seen it time and time before on my journey where people have had their injury, and they've lost themselves, like, and they've just now shrunken into nothing because, you know, a fraction of who they were.
Like a shattered identity, and they don't see a place for the. I imagine that's a lot in motocross too, right? Because the type of people they are before the incident, and then that identity is shattered, and then not being able to find that place for themselves again in some kind of way. So it's quite inspirational. You've managed to project that part of yourself out into the world where you're creating that pathway instead.
Yeah, I think, like, you know, getting people to stop. One thing that's been a major thing that I've found, and like I like to integrate it into what disability is with the action sport side of things, is to not think. Like, you can explain things, but it's going by feeling. And I feel a lot of the disabled like therapies and stuff is about thinking and healing, and I get that. Like, we're all on this similar journey, you know, physical differences, but, you know, we're all healing some sort of thing, and then we're going through those avenues. And you know what? Sometimes it's just better just to not think, like, to not use your mind, you just go by feeling, man. So if you want to do, for instance, the wakeboarding, that gets you so much out of your brain, like out of your mind. So
Get out of your head.
yeah, and it's like, because we're sitting, you know, you can't run for your outlet, your 10Ks, you know, when you're feeling, you know, overwhelmed or anything. You're sitting there processing a lot, and then it takes a lot of, it fatigues myself to be sitting there and going, like, let's just work it through, manage it, very stoic approach, and then coming out with the most, you know, considerate, you know, outcome of whatever you're dealing with.
That makes, Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Whereas, like, you can go do your wakeboarding, or whether the go-kart, whatever we've got going on, it's just go in there and send it, and deal with it right there and then.
I love that too, man, because it kind of reminds me of a book that I read about PTSD and complex trauma. I can't remember the author's name, but it's The Body Keeps Score. And in it, he talks about, there's that side of the trauma and the body remembers it. And one of the best ways to treat that trauma is to give the body the same kind of experiences that resulted from the trauma, like that's caused the trauma, but in a positive way where there's a good outcome.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's kind of like unconsciously, maybe even like what you're doing there. What do you like? Does that sort of make sense? Like,
Yeah.
it sounds like almost like what you described just then.
Yeah. So you almost unlock reliving or getting close to reliving it to them becoming and acknowledging that it's okay. There is no threat. And you're putting in different pattern of feeling around a traumatic subject or experience. You actually bought me that book years ago. And I've read it a couple times, and it's helped me move through a lot.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that, man.
The psychiatrist, psychologist, I
think it's a psychiatrist, specializing in that type of trauma.
But it related with me, and then obviously I'm going through my process of psychiatry and psychologists and learning about my brain and my tendencies with a lot of the other self-help work. And he's, CPTSD, that's all over. It's just you're finding out so much about yourself, and then on reflection on this journey, like especially of late, it's aligned so much, and it's very overwhelming. Like especially the diagnosis of ADHD with splashes of spectrums here, and you're going like, but to get it acknowledged,
it's kind of affirming in a way, or like you finally have maybe like a label or like a topic, or maybe a label for the experiences that you've had that you were confused about in the past. Is that kind of like how it helps? Or
it's just about it's about learning my brain. It's about learning who I am and why things happen, and then trying, because you're getting sick. I was getting sick of repeating patterns or self-sabotaging and all these things. So you go to learn about yourself and what triggers this, or why do you act like this, and then with these diagnoses is like it unlocks a lot. Like I turn my phone off for 3-5 days, and I just clean the house. Like I deep clean the house.
More people should do that, honestly.
Yeah, for sure. Because I was going through it, I'm like, I was pretty overwhelmed. There was just a lot of tears, just cleaning, because I felt like I had to reorganize myself internally as well as externally. So with these new, labels, or it kind of, on reflection over like those days, it brought so much tears and laughter as well, because you're going, oh man, like no wonder that interaction,
it's all clicking.
20 years ago or 15 years ago, you're going, oh, yep. And then those actions, and then 5 years ago, you're like, oh, yeah, right. And then, the correlation between the diagnosis and then your life experiences, you're just like, oh, okay, how do we manage this beast? Like, a spicy brain would just fire at any stage.
Like what you're describing there is very emotional, man. And I'd imagine that there's a lot of grief attached to that in a lot of ways because of the spicy brain, as you put it. But also, it also must open up a lot of hope for you too. If that's unlocking a lot of like levels of understanding for yourself in a much deeper way, and a better awareness of your patterns, does that help you sort of start to look to the future with a bit more, lack of a better word, awareness?
Yeah, and empathy.
Empathy, that's a good one.
There's empathy, and there's also grace. So
grace, beautiful. I like that.
Yeah, I give myself a lot of grace. Only of recent times. Before, it was very ambitious, and
you beat yourself up over.
Yeah,
I get
that
it.
have happened, things that haven't happened, things you need to be doing, all this, and it's like, mate, this you're digging yourself an early grave, and it was not helping myself or my relationships or anything to do with life. So, I guess learning about myself and then implementing some strategies, life's been a lot easier. They prescribed me Dexies, and they prescribed me dexamphetamines.
Oh, those stimulant medications for like ADHD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I found them good to begin with, and like just because it's quiet, and I get that, but it's also pharmaceutical mess. I get more emotional on the come down off them, so then I'm more triggered to more closer to tears and shit just on the daily, and you're like, this is bullshit, man.
Right. I'd imagine that's really complex too, especially if you got like the ADHD and then the treatment with like CPTSD and all that sort of stuff. That would be a bit tricky emotionally, I'd imagine. Yeah.
That's where the action sports come into it.
So that's where you get out of your head and you take your body to like something that is familiar to how your incident happened, but in a way that you had positive outcomes.
Yep. You can just maybe label it as a reset. So a rest and reload is when I go away somewhere and
rest and reload. I like that. Yeah.
So everything's a bit overwhelming, and you're consumed by need to be doing this, need to be doing that. So much on. I'm like, phone's going off. It's not going in the water. You're not doing all that kind of stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So you just turn it off and go rest and reload, center yourself, and then come back with a list of like what your priorities are. But obviously the action sports is a lot more exciting to do than
it's therapy.
Yeah,
it's therapy for you.
You can chuck laps around the wake park, but then that is what it is.
So now, sorry, we'll jump around a little bit here, but I wanted to sort of we're touching on. I think we're touching on here a lot more about your deep personal reasons why you've created your charity, What Disability, and how it serves the people you're trying to serve with it, which is beautiful. And I'd love to pull this back to your personal story just for a little bit, and wondering if you might be able to take me back to the night of your first backflip on the dirt bike, and like specifically for you, like what did it mean for you? What was it solving for you? What was what was driving you to do that? Do you think? If you can take me back there.
That was part of my. That was a goal that I had set out to myself in such a deep, dark place. Behind doors, I was crying. Obviously, you didn't really want to explore your body too much because of the injury and what you were able to do. Like, it's going to be a confronting process.
When you say explore your body, what did you mean? What do you mean by that?
Like, where are you going to throw yourself in? Does this work or does that work? Does
like navigating this like 3D world you're now a part of with the body you have after that point.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's going to take a lot of energy. It's going to take a lot of courage, and willpower to be going out there, and because it's very uncomfortable. For me, it was like you're going out there, and I'm an athletic person. You run 10Ks before work or whatever, and then get on for an 8-hour shift.
You were a gymnast and everything, weren't you?
Yeah.
Before.
So, and that's me parkour shit because you're just bored, like a rubber ball in a little cell. So now you don't have that outlet. It's going to take time. So the backflip goal, that was my little journey of like self-acceptance or accepting of what it is. But it's just to a massive degree. People can, play their team sports, or they can do their mediocre. To me, no offense to them, but it's like it's mediocre shit.
It's not you,
and it's definitely not me. And it's as much encouragement and as people give me to do that. This is my journey was No, I tried basketball and I threw the basketball out after like the third shot. It landed over there and I've pushed over and I've got it, and this is in rehab, and then I've missed a couple times and it hit the edge of the ring and it bounced all the way over the other end of the thing. I'm like, fuck this, dude.
Yeah.
I can't run and just grab it and
Right. It frustrated you more than anything.
So
Right.
I created my own outlet, and that was the freestyle motocross, doing the backflip. And that journey, it was more about, this isn't going to define me. This isn't going to stop me. Definitely didn't really slow me down. It just requires a lot more energy. Instead of running, you're just doing things like...
Just requires you to adapt.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And that's another thing where I think it comes from, where you're doing action sports and you're not thinking, you're just doing. Whereas with the disability in the wheelchair, you're always adapting. You're considering the future.
It's always a puzzle to solve.
You're planning the future, because you have to with steps. You have to with continence. You have to with bedding arrangements, showers, the transport. It's just a constant thing, and you're like, just get out of your head. And it's like, yeah, but you can't. You have to plan ahead. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go flip this dirt bike, and we'll rest and reload. We'll come back to all this shit later. And you come back to it like I come back reinvigorated, like, all right, yep, we can do that. Sweet. Doesn't have as much weight in the head of like laboring to organize this and this just to live and operate a basic.
So what comes to mind for me, dude, is all that mental and physical energy is spent for you in your everyday life to manage your everyday independence in life. It's hard for me to even imagine, or maybe even an audience member to imagine, how that translates to you jumping on this bike and doing that superhuman feat of flipping this dirt bike like, 8-10 meters in the air. And I think you described it to me the other day, which, like, when you hit the ground after being that high and you're strapped to this bike without the, like you said, the added cushioning of the suspension of your legs on the bike, you said something that stuck with me, and you said, it's like jumping off a first-story building onto your ass in the grass. Is a kind of impact that goes through your body. Can you talk, like, for the audience, can you talk me through like that, like all the mechanics of that flip? Like, how does it work? Like how like, can you talk me through your approach to that flip? Like, how did you make it work, and how did you accomplish that flip? Like, how do you do it with the new physical body that you have at that time?
Well, the starting process was, flipping that mini bike. We just used a ratchet strap across my legs, up near my groin, the top of the thighs, through the frame, and then I think we just used electrical tape or something for my feet on the pegs. And because you're strapped to the bike, it's only a mini bike, so it's sort of like a pushy, rigid. I remember riding up and then watching the top of the ramp and the front wheel getting off the ramp, and then the next clip, the next frame, the GoPro on the front shows my eyes like watching the front wheel, and as soon as that front wheel's off the ramp, the next frame is me already leaning back, and my eyes are back in my head, like wherever your head goes, your body follows. So I did that on the mini bike, and that's how I come round. I'm like, nah, it's easy as actually. Seat bounce and a flip. So then we've moved on to the 350.
Which is a much bigger bike.
It's a big bike, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a full size one. And that's taken it to the next level. But it is a respectful process. You've done the mini bike, okay, that's good. It's achievable. Now we move on to the big game. And I think we started flipping at Jacko Strong's house in Lockhart, New South Wales, and I had a normal seat on. So there was, when I'm pulling back, we worked out over a couple of days, we worked through it, but the first couple I was able to get a couple round, and then in a couple I blew my arms off and my butt shifted back because you're pulling so hard and the weight of the bike and the physics of it, you're pulling a lot, especially sitting down. It's not like you got standing leverage off the bike. So you're strapped to this bike, which is a solid, heavy object moving, and you've only got, from the chest up. So you're leaning into it. So the handlebars are here, and now your chest is pretty much over the petrol tank, and you're approaching the ramp really slow, but at the bottom of the ramp, you're accelerating to flat out. When you hit the top of the ramp, once again, each frame of the GoPro shows, because I wasn't wearing goggles, it shows like you're intensely watching the front wheel, and as soon as that front wheel leaves, I'm already leant back on that next frame. So
that timing is crucial.
Yeah, it does.
Right.
Yep, it's very, very. Because you don't have any room for mistakes, because you don't have legs to compensate or a back.
You've got to be so precise in that moment for you to pull that off.
Yep. And when I pulled back, we worked out that the seat needed to be custom made because my butt was sliding back, and you're losing that leverage, or that little leverage you got. It was your butt shifts a couple inches. You've now displaced,
Is that to
where
keep
you want to
forward on the bike? Or back on the bike?
Yeah, it's like center.
Just keeping the right spot. Yeah, okay.
Just in one spot. You want to be secure. You want to be like properly mounted to something stuck to it,
What are the dangers when, like you said, your hand blew off? What happens in that situation? Is that like a bad thing? When that happens?
So when that happens is when I've pulled too early. So the front wheel has, I've pulled too early, so the front wheel potentially hasn't left the ramp, or I'm going a little bit too slow. And when you've pulled back, you've compressed the back suspension that hard that it's not, the back wheel should be compressed, and then leaves the ramp. That comes and that creates the flip with the rotation with the accelerator. So that compression, that needs to be perfectly timed for your hand grip to be sweet. If you pull back too early and you've hit that full compression and your back wheel's still on the ramp, then you've got nowhere to go, and that it blows your throttle hand off because you're holding on that hard that
it's not, you just can't hold it.
The timing is just 0.3 of a second, 0.4, 0.2, 0.4 seconds, I reckon, just from guesstimate, because you're moving at speed, you're pulling back at a specific time, and if you just miscalculate it, then you've already blown that hand off. And in the foam pit, what I've mentioned earlier, where it's still a dangerous spot, and I'm strapped to it, so there is no chance of like the bike landing and then me landing on top of the bike, but I am strapped to it, and you're upside down. So if you think of it upside down and then the bike is strapped and it lands on top of my head.
Doesn't feel like any amount of foam is going to help you there in that situation.
Nah. So what we actually surprised myself, and everyone around, Jacko and Borgs and that they were filming, was, doing the flip, and I'd blow both two hands off a couple times, and I've leant back and I've pretty much done a lazy boy, which is where you put your arms back behind the rear guard and you lay down on the seat. So your helmet is on the rear guard, and you're like this, and I'm still going around upside down, and I've come back and like hugged the bike and just kept going. Like the amount of process that happens, that unfolds in that
seconds.
A couple of seconds, it's phenomenal.
Wow.
Like the reaction time of it, like blowing both hands off, you're doing a lazy boy, and the bike's already in motion, so it's committed. So now you've got to commit back to it and grab the bike and either hug it.
It's damage control at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the damage control unlocked another thing. I was like, I could almost do a variable backflip, boys. Like I could do a lazy boy. What would you call it? You got like, you're not using legs, so you're not using your arms.
It's a new trick.
Yeah, and then you grab back on and you get back on the throttle. And I was coming a couple of times, I come down like pretty much perfect to land perfect in the foam pit. To then bring it to dirt is like front end heavy. So the front end comes in first. And then when you take it to dirt, that's a good right away position.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I've come back a couple of times, blown off, come back on, like bring back around, and I've landed like number plate down. I'm like, we've almost got another trick. They're like, what the fuck, man? You're like almost on, because it would look so bizarre. Like you would never see this dude get strapped to a dirt bike. And like he's just upside down like 30, 40 feet in the air. He's like this and then gets back. Yeah.
It's superhuman, man. To anyone who isn't in that sport, it's superhuman. It really is. Yeah, it's wild. So how much time did you need practicing into the foam pit like that, making your mistakes kind of in a safer situation, before you decided, okay, now's the time I'm doing this flip?
I spent some time with Lockhart, like with Jacko, and then we went up to the jungle jumps up in Wollongong, and then just trained hard there. Like, yeah, that was
You got serious. You got really serious about it.
Yeah, well, Jacko's pretty serious. That was awesome to train there with him and his support. That was phenomenal. And then that allowed me to organise up with James Martin and Chook and Fish Fingered, all of those boys up there in Wollongong.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got right behind it, and I was organising. I was on a mission, dude. Like I was this little Subaru Forester with a big ass turbo, like 20 pounds of boost. This thing just like towing a trailer with a dirt bike and, a bunch of bloody attitude. We hooked everything up at the jungle jumps and went down and got daylight makers from Kennard's Hire or somewhere, and I was holding it flat out trying to get up this hill, man, and this thing's doing 30 kilometers an hour, like full boost, towing this daylight makers.
Daylight makers, the big light, right? Like like you have to tow this gigantic light with a crane on it, right? Yeah.
Super heavy generator with a couple of spotties.
Yeah.
It's like what the council uses for roadworks and that.
And this is for the night. This is for the night of doing that.
Yeah,
flip.
I think I hired it for a couple of nights. Just
right.
I didn't know when was going to happen. That's the other thing. I'm just allowing for.
Right, when the universe tells you it's time, type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I just said to him, maybe have a couple of days, couple of nights, I think, maybe 3. I'm not sure yet. They're like, what are you doing? Like, told him, like, just bring it back whenever you're done, mate. Said, cheers, mate. And yeah, I'd done it for days, man. I remember staying at Fez's house and like just the body was buckled, and you get massage, you're looking after yourself. Like you weren't drinking, you'd have a couple of beers, one or two.
Like you're an athlete at this point.
Yeah, it was, when it come to like riding and everything like that, there was no pre drinks, there was no pre anything. I was just locked in. And even afterwards, you're not getting obliterated on anything because you're there studying.
Yeah,
you're there.
It's
like,
high performance mode.
Yeah,
because that makes sense.
And it's pretty awesome looking back on these journeys, because it does the correct way to do it is just how the subconscious controls your conscious. Like it's like, this is now serious shit. Like, and then your actions like go into performance mode of,
because this isn't a trick for you, right? This is deep unconscious meaning for you, like redemption. You're trying to it seems to me like in that moment, like you're really trying to rise out of the grief of the situation with that moment.
I'm rising above it. Yeah. I'm 100 stories above. And if I can do this, then imagine the inspiration and everything that people will gather from it, from, future accidents. there's, what is it, 1 to 3 or something spinal cord injuries a day. Jane, you might have to double check that, but in Australia alone. So it's to me, it's not letting the disability define me, but it's also creating a precedent now for people to go, if this is the level of commitment that this person can take or this person has done, then my potential, which potentially could be down here, but it's still great to them in their life. That's completely achievable.
It gives them hope. It makes them feel less alone.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's in reach, Shannon. It's in reach for them.
Sure, it's possible. Sure, you can do it. And I guess you must have been drawing on the inspiration because you'd experienced that exact moment with the person that you were liaising with, the sort of the distant mentor that was doing the whips on the bike earlier when you were talking about that. So I guess you want to embody what they've done for you and pass that on and then take it to the next level, I'm guessing, in that moment.
Yeah. Yep. And it's then combining that with the personal journey, and I'm going, this is a great recipe. I didn't, I wasn't scared of losing my life because I had in my mind that if I was going to get taken, or if I was going to pass away, then that would have happened at that injury when I broke my back. I was dead locked on that, still am. And I just don't have fear with that. With the whole bike thing, the thing is scary as shit, but it's like we'll get to this, but you did the flip again recently. We'll get to this, but it's freaking terrifying, man, because I was there. I seen you do what you did recently. And it's larger than life. It's superhuman. It is freaking terrifying. So for you to feel that way, knowing that it's almost like you're in some kind of higher power's hand in a way that, it's not your time when you're doing those flips, I guess that's sort of your mindset. Is that right? Yeah. 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 And I don't have too much fear, mate. And it's been me for forever. And I like it. I like that way. It does get a bit exhausting when things don't go right.
Right.
But, and that takes a lot to dig deep, but you learn a lot about yourself and backing yourself in those times, I think is key to progressing into unknown waters, and then the potential is now, further. It's always limitless. But what was the Don't Believe Everything You Think book is the quote was brilliant. Courage is not the absence of love. Courage is the presence of love in fear. In the midst of fear. So it does take courage to do it, but I love it. I love doing gnarly shit.
You love that situation. You love pushing boundaries, taking it beyond.
Yeah.
And so, okay, so let's take ourselves back to that night. You've got the daylight makers. You're practicing. You're in athlete mode. Everything's optimized. Is there like some way for you to, where are you practicing? Are you practicing into a foam pit there at the location? Then you have a dirt jump to land to later on when you're ready? Like, how does it all work?
Yeah, we had a down ramp to the left, but closer to the edge of the mountain, they had the foam pit. So yeah, I was training there for a couple of weeks, I think.
Right. Okay. A couple week boot camp preparing for that jump.
Yeah, it wasn't every day, but you had to take in consideration the boys' work, and when we can, we're just using it when it was achievable. And the mission was like Chase the Dream tour, moving from Adelaide to South Australia to the Gold Coast and doing the flip. Josh Smith helped us out with that, and Chase the Dream tour. So it was based around the flip and getting up there and then learning to walk. But the jungle jumps, it's a pretty magic spot, man. You're up in the mountains, and at the gate is like this massive rock. Like it's a mountain of a rock, but it's like, I don't know if it's not granite, but it just looks like Avatar up there at the back of Wollongong. Yeah. And that's my space. I love that because everything's big and I'm just like, frother. Like, so we've gone through and I've done, I don't know how many I did that day. It's hard to recall a bunch because, yeah, I've tried to journal a bunch of this stuff and I'm like, it's just so, maybe I move fast or I need to properly slow down and meditate on it to reflect on, because there's so, obviously my life's full of shit, but
I fully get it, man. Like,
it comes down to the details.
Not to talk about myself too much, but yeah, I've been diagnosed recently with carefully assessed too, and it come back ADHD. And so when I reflect on my life, I really struggle to remember little key details because you're always moving so quick.
Yeah.
You know, so you're not really taking that time to make that memory a lot of the time. So I get it. It's hard to reflect like that.
It's great in the present.
Yeah.
And then what happened? I'm like,
May we definitely live,
don't know.
we? But perhaps the things we do remember are like the parts that really light us up, less of the quiet moments, right? Okay, so you've told me before that, you know, you'd done a few flips into that foam pit on the night and then they were beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
They were perfect. And you thought to yourself, okay, let's do it right now. What is going through your head when you're doing that? Talk me through those. I'll let you tell me how many flips there were, if there was one, if there was more. But yeah, just take me to that moment. Like, what were you feeling? What were you thinking? You know, what's going through your head?
Well, this was, so we've got the daylight makers up there. I've done that. So the preparation over the time, if you're looking at time frames of things, you know, and on reflection, you're seeing this play out, but at the time you didn't, you know, you're just doing as what's happening and you feel like you're getting better or closer so then things start.
And you're intuitively feeling your way through it.
Yeah. And you just, might as well get the daylight makers now. I'm thinking to myself, like, why? You know, I don't know. I guess we'll get that so we can keep doing that. But on reflection, it's you're getting closer to flipping to dirt. So I did a bunch, like you say 50 or so over the couple of weeks, and it's pretty exhausting. 30 to 50, I don't know. But you've got a full chest. Bushy hooked us up with like a full armor. So you zip up and you've got everything. And that took a lot of the fatigue out because it takes it out of you, like doing flips into the pit, getting out.
I bet. I couldn't imagine.
And after like 5 or 6, you're starting to get fatigued. So that bodysuit took a lot of that out, which is great. And I remember, you know, I think I got hurt a couple days earlier, and then that sort of put into my mind, and it wasn't bad. It was just you're just getting axed.
It's just like a little thought in the back of your head.
Yeah, you're getting pummeled, man, like a lot. Like you're getting worked. So it's like washing machine kind of ragdoll. Anyway, everything's starting to ache, and I remember it was coming definitely into night, and it was good. All the boys were around, had a couple beers. There were mini bikes riding around, doing the flips into the pit, and I did 3 perfect ones. 3 perfect flips where you pull back, ra-da-da-da, ra-da-da-da, and you spot the landing. So you're not on the limiter, like wanting to bring it round and like arcing. Everything was just fluid. It was flow state, and it was beautiful, like that sensation of like, right, and it was like everything just felt flow. And I'm like, that's it. That's the ticket. I'll get another one. All right. And then the third one I did, that come round, and you got to manage your energy and everything as well, fatigue, because pulling back off that ramp is all your arms and everything, your neck, you're just pulling with everything up here. So
you've only got so much in you.
So then I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm not doing it anymore. That was perfect. We'll pull that ramp over. So the guys I think they got the Bobcat, and then pulled that over to the left. And now everyone's a bit gobsmacked, and there was so many cameras, but it was a bit back in the day. It was probably not the clearest of films and stuff, but Like we got the footage.
Yeah, got footage of it. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it didn't matter if there was one person there or 20 or 100. Like I just wanted to do it.
Mm.
And yeah, I remember leaning up against the trailer while they were doing that. And then you've got that anticipation, and that's where, a lot of the athletes and that will start getting their adrenaline, like start pumping, and they're not a bit of cortisol probably because you're not moving as well. You're sort of I'm sitting there stagnant. It's not
That's
like
kind of like a danger zone, right? Like the adrenaline dump
for sure
beforehand.
For sure. So you've got to control that, and you can't walk it off. So you're strapped to the bike, and I'm still leaning against there. And I think Aussie Adrenaline, Ash, I think he's got some footage of me going through the process of me leaning against that and against the trailer, and I'm going through I'm like, it's that easy. It's that easy into the foam pit. It would be that easy here. And then once the ramp was moved over, I went into prayer, and I just, I did pray that, to obviously watch over me. But it was also a conversation. So I know that you would have taken me at the first time when I broke my back. So I know you're not going to take me now, but please help me ride out of this. You can see how much effort I've put in, and practice and consideration of this is not it's not a suicide mission. This is not that. I've done ticked all the boxes. So all I'd like is to ride out of it.
You want to ride out?
Yeah. And complete this. And at that time, it was definitely a game of poker because of that adrenaline boost, the adrenaline dump. Then you've got the cortisol, and your heart and chest and everything is just flat out.
Does that affect your nerves?
Yeah, physically and mentally for sure. So you're keeping a handle on that. You're not losing it, but you're not going over top. You're keeping it moderated right there, right in the sweet spot. And anyway, you're there, and the process was at the end of it. It was like you didn't take me then. I know you're not going to take me now. So this is the hand I'm playing, and it was like the poker. It's like a game of poker where you've got two people left in the game. You've both got stacks of chips, and they push it all in, go all in, and they get up and walk away from the table. That's pretty much what I did. Well, that's what I did do. That's clear in my mind. I'm like, don't worry about it. It's out of my hands now. It's all out of my hands. And got up and walked away from the table. So started the bike and did a couple of run-ups, swore a couple of times. Fuck. You're heading towards it, and then maybe just getting the speed check, and you're like, this is insane, bro. You're back into that living state now of this is what it is, and we're doing it. And yeah, they lined it up. We've gone past that stage of that. We're not turning off. This is not a speed check. Oh, it's real. Fuck yeah, we're doing this. Bottom of the ramp, right. Accelerate back, full flat out. Spot the ramp. Yep, got the down ramp. Boom, and land. And when you spot the landing and know you're going to come in heavy, you've got to keep the accelerator on, and it keeps the wheel spinning so it takes off forward instead of down. It gives you movement, lateral movement. So yeah, I did that, and my body just couldn't handle the impact.
Because you're strapped on the bike, not
because I'm strapped to the bike, but then I've got no core structure from underneath my chest. So all my guts just blow out. So if you think of, just jumping off the roof onto the grass on your ass, it's with a bit of a slope if you want, you just your whole body and back that's it.
Man.
Everything's compressed, and you could feel this block of wind come from your guts, up through your neck, out. It was You're like, but your body's already in shock. Like you could ride out of it with that momentum, but your body, as soon as it lands, it's just going straight away. It's just like zombie mode. You're just like, you can't move. Like,
wow.
so then you're pulling over and you're looking at everyone. You're like, you're good. I'm like trying to move. I'm stuck to the bike. I'm like, okay. I'm all good, I think. And then that goes on for 10, 15 minutes. Then you start to get your breath back, and you're like, bro, that was amazing. I'm like, yeah, let's line it up again. The boys are like, what the fuck, man? Like,
yeah,
are you good? I'm like, I'm good. I've got my breath back. I come round. I don't understand why, but that was perfect landing. And then you got a couple of boys doing this, and and I'm like, well, we're here. We've done it. I've done the practice. I've done it all. We'll continue onwards. So
wow.
start the bike and did it again. Same thing. Then the third time, yeah, I heard an explosion in my lower back, and it was just indescribable. Like it was like a grenade going off in my lower back, but it traveled up in between my ears, man. It was just a bizarre thing of like, boom. When I land, I'm like, oh, like full winded again. I'm like, that's it. No more today. That's when I pulled the pin. But, the fact I'd landed 2 wheels down 3 times after just copping the most monumental blows, like,
Wow.
I'm a tough cookie, but like that's, I don't know, it goes like God kick you up the ass. Like, just drop punt, like, just coughing your soul, catching it, put it back.
I'm in pain just thinking about this. I'm hearing it. I'm in pain. Yeah.
Yeah, bit of a drop punt, mate.
Bloody hell.
So,
what was everyone thinking during that time? Like when you're going again and again, like what was the reactions of the people around you who were supporting you?
It was eerie. Like the first time, everyone's like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, dude, that's sick." Like,
and then the mood changes.
What the fuck? And I was like, "Yeah." And then I do it again, and then they're like, "Bro, what the fuck? You're so close. You're so close." And then you can see, actions of body reactions of worry and stress and like, I don't know, maybe grief or angst or something. And they're doing this, and then
they're starting to worry that it's kind of going down like a self-destructive path, or it's just they're starting to fear the situation, or
I think the situation, because I was in the moment, I'm living it. It's my life. My journey. I've got to. I'm doing it. I'm electric as shit. This is why I'm in the wheelchair. Is because the spirit is so strong and energetic. The flesh, the body, the bag of bones just doesn't keep up, mate.
Yeah.
So the boys are like the second one. They're just going, like they're probably seeing from an outside point of view of how the action's affecting my body and how it may not be able to be ride outable, but no one's going to probably mention that out of respect of the journey, which kudos. So then they've, it was eerie after the second one. You've got the boys here and, they're walking away, and it was a relatively quiet experience on reflection. It was, you're in the jungle, you got the generator going for the daylight makers. There's no electric atmosphere anymore. It was more like, this is do or die, serious shit. Like, and a bunch of them had walked away, like into the darkness. If you think of like the street light, and it's all lit up, and then there's dark, and it's like, you could just see a couple.
They're just disappearing into the shadows.
Just going away like, fuck. There was a bunch left there, but yeah, a lot of them.
And we're probably talking about a bunch of blokes that have a pretty strong stomach for this sort of thing. And even they're walking away unable to watch.
Yeah, I think they're just worried about it, yeah.
Like the fear of something like bad happening.
Because it's like, it's nail biting shit, not of like a 3-pointer on the final second. This is like, fuck, his dude's life is on the line, like, and he's still going after it. What are you doing? I'm like, don't understand why I can't ride out of it. Let me go back let me keep practicing.
And so that's always stuck with you, right? The riding out's part of it all for you. So let's jump forward a bit. What happens for you in the months, the years following that event?
Following the flips, like I ended up on the Gold Coast and, learning to walk. So that was the thing, Shannon, was like I wanted to ride out of it there so I could just clear that
Put it
and
the rest.
then go walk. That was the hero's journey, was the freestyle
Right.
motocross that put me in a wheelchair. You know, the actions that led me to put me in a wheelchair was now conquered by doing the world's first feat of the paraplegic backflip. And then now I can walk. But the spicy brain doesn't let, and this has been a very highlighted part of my life has been when you haven't completed something, it's hard for me to let go like that.
Right. You
Dog and
need to
bone
finish
thing.
what you start in that sense, like if it's a goal, some kind of like big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yep. And just in the recent times with the grace that I've given myself, it's, I'm happy with a lot of things at the moment, like, because it's not so ambitious and it's okay to fail. It's okay not to finish things, even though it feels like with the ADHD shit, you start 108 things and you finish like three
Yeah.
of them. Like, come on, man, you just want to finish. But it was a serious part of my journey on Earth, I think, was, doing
Like riding out.
Yeah, the riding out. That's a completion of a dog. Then you can go walk. And then, when I got to Queensland, that was, we had fundraised 60 grand on that fundraiser in Piri. And then my personal income protection money, there was no NDIS then. I wasn't on the DSP or anything. DSP I had to try 2 or 3 times to get on. Because
DSP, was that a disability support pension? All right, yeah.
Because I wasn't injured enough. I think Christina Villacotis, I think she's from Victoria now. Yeah, she's in a wheelchair. She's had the similar.
That's wild.
That you're not disabled enough. And then you've got people with like IBS, some shit like getting whatever.
Oh, it's a shame.
Twisted ankle. So it just that was part of the process. So that when I got up here to the Queensland and you had Making Strides, which was the spinal cord rehab, the only spot in Australia really that was doing spinal cord rehab rehabilitation.
It's a physiotherapy place based out of Burleigh.
Yeah. Just down the road. So they specialised in regaining walking, any return of sensation, motor movement, and function really.
And because your spinal cord wasn't severed and it was a bruising situation, it was there was hope. Like that you seen like that was a possibility for you to go there and get involved with what they're doing.
That's right. And we had fundraised money to go to America for 6 months to train at Project Walk. But during that process, one of the trainers, Jenny, bless her, she's the best, she started Making Strides in Burleigh with Christy and Jim. So that was 2014. I think I was like one of their very first clients. And I've moved up here and threw myself at it 3 days a week, 2 hours a day, plus my gym, like separately, just give it full ham. And the hope and everything was good. Everything was no responsibility besides like repairing yourself. And without any income really, I had exhausted all my funds doing the rehab, moving up here with rent, food, whatever. We definitely could have, on reflection, could have done things a bit different. But, once again, what does Andy do? I just slingshot myself into shit and then, look back like, could have done that a bit different. Well, we're here now, is what it is. Continue onwards. So, yeah, that lasted like 5 years though. So we had a good time, like wild time. It was great, 5 years. But then when all that money exhausted itself, and I couldn't move a toe, and things weren't getting, motor function wasn't returning or anything like that. That's when the delayed reaction of the seriousness of this.
Like the delayed grief.
Yeah, and acceptance and realisation of it. And that only come at the worst of times when everything had to stop because the money had run out. There was like trouble in the house with, mates and, people that you surrounded yourself with, toxic environments. Then you've got no money, got a car stolen, your car stolen, you just bought, and you're just like, what? And then you probably pissed yourself like 3 days straight, probably got average bowel movements. And that was just enough to trigger this whole depression or suicidal, it was pretty rough there. There's lots of alcohol, lots of pharmaceuticals, lots of drugs. And you're just going through that process of like escaping because, the people around or whatever, my choice was, well, this is fucked. Can't ride out of the dirt bike. You always just, the red car theory. So as soon as something goes bad and there was a bunch of continuous bad things that happened,
That's all you see.
That's all it was, yeah. And so that took a few years probably to get through. It was very, very confronting for myself, but also the people that loved me. There was like letters there, wills made. I remember writing letters of, what would you say, like love letters, I guess, for when I'm not here. And there was just teardrops all over them. And a couple of times that, the parents had to drive down from, hours and hours away or fly up from interstate to support me. And, on the phone having panic attacks, just couldn't catch my breath. And that took a couple of years. And, it wasn't a healthy state to be in, but it was part of the due process, I believe, with, how fast and, non-reactive I was to the injury itself. Like I didn't let it affect me. And then you had to catch up at some stage, sort of universal law in a way that, all right, you haven't grieved this properly. Let's take away everything and then let you grieve. And then
years of grief all coming at once.
Yeah. And as much running as you could do, you're not running it, So you're not outrunning it, that's for sure. Because you can't run. But like, the grieving part had to take place, and however long that was, that took a few years and a lot of, shitty relationships and friendships, everything, that was a really difficult process. And it was just very unstable. My environment was very unstable.
So you didn't kind of have like a safe space, and then you didn't have a safe headspace. So it's kind of just compounding. Plus the circumstances leading into that phase in your life don't make it any easier. Was there a point in your life where, because I know the NDIS started to come out, where there's like an NDIS support system coming into your life to sort of help with some of that stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, that did change a lot, but it did, I think the change had already happened.
And just for the viewers, that's the National Disability Insurance Scheme in Australia. Yeah.
Yeah. So my coin flip with all that changed one night or one morning. I woke up with like another whisper in my ear. Like, I don't know if my heart had stopped at night or what, but I was sitting up and said, like, it's close, shit's got to change. It's the same whisper as I got when I...
That's with like the pharmaceuticals, the self-destructive behavior, everything, all that led to that moment in night where it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah. It's just like I sat up, just... And then, obviously it felt like this whisper, or heard the whisper of like, this has to change now because you almost died. Like, same as when you're laying on the ground with a broken back. And it's the same whisper, like, shit's never going to be the same ever. And then now it's this one, I'm like, can't ignore that, mate. So I tidied everything tidied myself up, got off the pharmaceuticals myself, like didn't go to rehab or anything. Like, it's just like a coping mechanism. I don't know if ADHD or my style of ADHD or whatever, or it's my personality, that you're not really addicted to something, but it's used as a tool to escape something or to...
It makes sense. It's an escapism. But with your personality, once your kind of focus shifts, you can kind of like go down that road, can't you?
Yeah, it's like whatever for that. I don't care for it. It's and so I was able to do that on my own. So no endones, no Valiums, no bottles of Jameson or a vodka or whatever. You're just smashing everything.
Cocktails.
Yeah. Because you didn't want to pull the trigger because you're too gutless to do that. So you do it somewhere else, like through a different avenue.
You're killing yourself indirectly.
Yeah.
Type thing. Right.
And you could see it in my face. It was all swollen and everything was just, it was no good. So then I did that. And then, it took months, man. That was like 3 months, bro. Like like I'd be sitting in the shower with a pillow against the wall because my bowels were just cooked. So I'd be shitting myself in bed, and then you get up at 1 a.m. or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay. And you throw everything in the wash, and then living independently. So then you're throwing everything in the wash, go have a shower, go back to bed with a towel, then wake up 2 hours later and it's happened again. So then you throw that and wash, have another shower, and it's just like that on repeat, and you just gas, man. It's not like you can go jump out of bed quick and do that.
It's a whole thing every time it happens.
Clean your wheelchair, clean yourself, clean the bed, and then so I ended up, there was days and days there where you just end up leaning against the wall in the shower, just with it running gently, and just sleeping in there or sleeping on the toilet next to the wall, and just calling the parents and just going like, this is what it is. Sorry it's got to this way, but thanks for being there for me. This is terrible. And it got better. It definitely got better. And just stuck to, being the healthy way about it and acceptance. And that's when I turned to ayahuasca as well. So I did all the plant medicine. I'm an explorer. So I've done the pharmaceutical way, and that's the cheapest way. That was $7 for a pack of bloody, what is it? It was $35, mate, for, I don't know, 190. What was it? Five boxes of 20. Yeah. Endones.
Oh, yeah.
So, and just eat them like Skittles, man. Just wake up, have 2 or 3 or 4. And then, a couple Valium, and then a couple swigs of alcohol, whatever. And
you kind of roll, you're dancing at the edge there, aren't you? You're rolling the dice every time you do that kind of cocktail.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then I was getting on with the day, and cocaine or whatever other drugs that's cruising around. I'm like, not whatever other drugs, but it was just a cocktail of your stimulants and your relaxers, and you just full cycle.
There's no self-preservation in that approach. Yeah.
No, not at all. So, that was the escapism. And then I'd clean myself up, and then the universal law, I think, happens where if you're doing the right thing for yourself or for others, then, the next gift happens, or the next, treasure bit unlocks, and what's over here, and it's the healthy way to go about this. Potentially now you've tried Western medicine, which is absolutely cooked. Now try plant medicine. So I got an offer to go to ayahuasca, and that changed my whole life. Yeah.
Wow.
It was the cooling, and that's law, LORE. So the law of it is when Mother Ayahuasca calls, and that's when you're ready. When you're ready, she calls.
And when you went there, what came out of that for you?
There was lots of purging going on. A lot, just vomiting, lots of tears, lots of sweats, but you're letting go. So when you're laying there for 6 hours in the deep meditation, and you're having your 3 cups of ayahuasca, 1 cup's maybe 2 hours or so of journey, and then you purge and you come back to bliss, and then you go again. But yeah, you're going through an internal awareness reflection state. So then whatever you've got whatever you're holding on to, and it's stopping you, or there's grief, from trauma from younger years, ancestral times, however deep you want to go. Obviously, I'm dealing with what's happening here, which could be linked to ancestral times, but you know, you're going through and you're suffering, and then once you hit this point of working out what it is, then it literally makes you sick. So you're yawning, which is a purge. You cry or you spew or you go to the toilet. And I was spewing and I had sort of fasted. You only eat berries and stuff like that in lead up because you got to have energy for the journey. So you're eating pretty light, very healthy and clean, but the fruits, like it's not, you're not full at all. But when you're purging, it was soulful, man. Like it was like the wind, that brick of wind coming up when you got winded. It was like that, but there was just contents. And I'm like, hey,
Wow.
where from? I'm just sitting here, it's like snot and tears coming out, and it was all black and things are all moving. You're just staring there, but you're feeling so much better after getting that out, as if it's leaving your body. And then after that, it took me probably 2 weeks of integration, like reintegration into the world, because you know, you're starting to look at things a lot differently and consider a lot of things differently after seeing what you see and experience and feeling. But after that, like I didn't drink alcohol, smoke, or watch TV, or I did my circadian rhythm. And I was getting up. I was going to bed at 7:30, 8. I was awake at 4.
Right. So you completely reformatted the way you're seeing the world, your mindset, how you're treating yourself, how you see the future from that experience. And that's the turning point for you when you start to push for something more. I'd love to go down that road, but I feel like there's something we need to cover first, which is I think is part of the journey to that ayahuasca catharsis and purge. So,
how long is this need to be running for? It's on hour and 30 minutes. Or
hour and 30. Do you mind if we go for another 20 minutes just to wrap up? And then I think what we'll do, Andy, is we'll get you in again another time to complete the story.
Yeah.
That's cool. Sorry, yeah, we'll jump back into that. So, yeah, there's something in your past there that we didn't cover, I think, that I think really does tie into that purging of emotions too for you with that ayahuasca experience. And that is what happened after you did the flip, after the word gets out. It was you were kind of like a sensation online, weren't you, for a while there? That results in a big, sort of like a short mini doc type thing for Kellogg's, which is like Kellogg's Unstoppable. They do a piece on you and that's a part of a web series that they did on you. And the thing goes off. It's got millions of views online. You know, the whole world is just moved and so inspired. You achieved what you wanted to do there in terms of inspiring people. And that for you really was, and how I've taken it and how our conversations have been is for you, that was your redemption. That was you taking back, you know, what was taken from you in a lot of ways. And I've actually gone through on that video and looked at the comments. There's like so many comments on the YouTube video. I know it's on like Facebook and everywhere else. But on the YouTube one, particularly, there's so many comments of just like super, super inspired people that you've touched and that changed their lives from what you did there. And that's incredible. But then something happens, is it maybe 6 months later, that kind of knocks that out of balance for you, isn't there?
I'm not sure.
Is it Bruce Cook?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that was a bit of that was a journey. That was the flip. You know, obviously I didn't ride out of it. And that's
the thing that you really felt like you needed to do.
Yeah. And then on reflection too, like you investigate it more. In 2000, Kerry Hart did the first backflip in competition. That's what it's registered as. That's what people associate. The first flip in competition in FMX was Kerry Hart. in
Right.
2000, but he didn't ride out. And he's full body. He's got full access to limbs. Yep. But
Right, but that's marked in history. Like it's done in competition, first time doing that.
Yep.
Although it didn't ride out. Yeah.
And so then, that's where, to me, I'm going, well, I've got a third of my body left, mate, and I've done it 3 times in succession.
And it wasn't possible for you to do it in competition because of the situation.
Yeah. But in comparison to saying, like, is it the world's first? The world's first.
Mm.
Well, yes, because
it is the world first.
I'm paraplegic as shit. I'm strapped to the bike, and I flipped the dirt bike to dirt. And
you landed 2 wheels down.
Yeah, it's perfect form. My body can't hack it. And I believe Bruce and I were talking. He broke his back in Nitro Circus doing a double backflip. And was it double back? He got a double front flip. I think it was a double front flip. And yeah, he under rotated and threw the bike and landed directly on his butt and broke he's a lower level, so he's like maybe T11 or something down below, so does have core. But that's to my understanding anyway, that he's a lower level injury. And we're talking on Instagram, and he was inspired by what I'd done, and then he went and did it at Travis's house up in America, and they built like this a kicker. So the super kicker ramp's pretty similar, I reckon. And then they did a step up with mulch on top, and that makes complete sense. You're eliminating the drop, you're eliminating the force of it. And because I wanted to do the flip the same as Tommy Robb and Robbie Madison and all that, just trained him in, Jacko, trained him in the same jump, and I guess they could have done it to the step up too, but like...
So they've modified certain things, like with the ramp and the down ramp and things like that, to sort of take the ease out of the landing or make the rotation easier or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what you didn't want to do so much.
Yeah. And that's because it's not accepting the disability, but you just go on, nope, we're all good, let's do it. But it wasn't. Bruce had taken that in consideration. Travis did. They built the down ramp, so it was a lot softer landing. The trajectory, of landing was higher. So you're not falling, 35, 40 foot. You're only falling, maybe 15 or 20 foot. By the time you get that rotation around, you're riding out of it just there. So,
and so he lands that during a Nitro Circus show. I think it was, wasn't it?
At Travis Pastrana's house. Yeah.
Oh, was it? Sorry, I thought it was a show. Okay, yeah. So he lands that flip, and then around that time, I think you said to me that because of the flip that you did and the media sensation that became, that was opening a lot of doors for you. You were having conversations with like certain big players about sort of like doing tours and stuff like that. And then Bruce Cook comes along with a bit of hindsight from the challenges you had with the landing, sticks the landing, rides out. But then it's claimed that he's the first paraplegic backflip. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then that ties into the downward journey for you. And then the grief and the struggle, and the real the realization when you wake up at night you got to change. Something has to be. You need more out of this. The ayahuasca moment, and then that ayahuasca moment unlocks something within you that I get the sense. I mean, with everything that you're doing now and everything that I know about, which we may not have time to get into in this podcast, we might have to go for a part 2, but it seems to me that ayahuasca experience unlocks something in you or awakens something in you where like giving back is a way for you to heal and to grow and to move forward. Does that sound about right? Or
Yeah. There was a big shift there. And, you know, I remember cleaning the house and taking a photo, you know, because everything you need is within an arm's reach, really. And I had all the camera gear laid out that I'd gone through, and I had years and years of boxes of stuff that I'd never gone through. So after ayahuasca, reintegrating was like just calming music, and I'm going through cleaning my whole environment, like restructured it all as a representation probably of my internal restructure as well from that experience. And, you know, going through, you want to film and document people's journey, like document their journey to how they got to their injury, or how they got to where they are now. For example, you use the wake park. So there's been a couple of interviews there where you go through their story and their journey and find out about their journey and how they've dealt with it. Because every story is very interesting. And then document them doing an action sport or an experience that they didn't think that they'd be doing. So the wake park is great, watching their progression and, you know, giving that back to them as like a memory they'll never forget. And my scale is very ambitious.
What is your vision for What Disability?
It's
your charity.
It's very grandiose. But we've
as everything, you know.
Yeah. But in these recent times, I've been okay with keeping it, or having appreciation for what I've done so far and building forward. The grandiose thing is where I can't have gratitude for what I've done or be at peace with what I've done because you still haven't reached that mark. So, you know, quietening that down, the ambitious goal of having a dedicated athlete, adaptive athlete sort of academy, which is shout out to Chris down in Sydney. I only met him the other month and he had created the Adaptive Athlete Academy.
That's right, because you had that name early on, didn't you? Yeah. And then that was sort of in the back of your mind, and then you ended up doing What Disability with that name instead. And then I think you just recently told me you met was it Chris? Who's got that name, which you like and you've been collaborating with,
Yeah, so he's down in Sydney, but I had a meeting with Bayside and the Logan City Council and mentioned that I would like a Adaptive Athlete Academy, you know, built for the 2032 Paralympics in Queensland. So that would be like the barracks for people that want to achieve great things with disability and have that as accessible accommodation for people that want to travel to Australia or to Queensland and experience the theme parks and everything that Southeast Queensland's got to offer. So as well as having like that being the forefront for the world to see that Australia is accessible and we do have adaptive athletes and we're all senders, all from around the world can come and stay there as well. And that would be the dream for WD.
That's incredible.
While we're getting there, I'm happy that I've been able to help people find sports that they've been chased. They're living it every week. They're doing it now. So before WD, they weren't doing anything. So
because you're mentoring, you're sponsoring athletes, aren't you? You do. You're doing running weekly sessions in like with the wakeboarding and other activities and all of that, aren't you?
Yeah. It's more wakeboarding, but as we can see, whatever, we don't know what's really happening until it's happening, and then it moves really quickly to get everyone involved. So yeah, it's been a great process, and I do find a lot of satisfaction and like warmth within me when I see the people participating in something that I've helped them step into or roll into, whatever, and it's you know, helping the young ones, like just even Kai and you can see he's wrecked, like in the back seat of the car, he's wrecked after it because he's so tired, but he's had a great time, and stuff like that. And seeing people enjoy it in real time, you just like, it warms the heart. You're like, it's totally worth it.
You're building something special that's of value to other people, that's helping other people.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful, man. And through that journey of you doing like the wake park stuff, and then you ended up becoming the world para wakeboard champion. That was only last year, wasn't it? September-ish, around there. Yeah. But there was another itch. There's another itch for you, wasn't there? Which we kind of looked at earlier, maybe a few months ago. And for me, this is where it kind of gets interesting. And I'm just going to disclaimer this, that I've encouraged you plenty of times as the documentary filmmaker documenting your journey that whatever your story is will make that story. You've got this thing that you need to put the rest. And so I see where these two things converge in a very interesting way with your personal journey and your appetite for adrenaline-fueled risky stunts, and that thing that you haven't put to rest yet, you haven't made peace yet with riding out of that flip, and then you've got, I think, what is a very beautiful redemption arc with your journey to giving back, feeding your soul, that altruistic path where finding another way to find inner peace and inner happiness through giving back and mentoring others and helping other people get through their journey like you have. And that's kind of converging now in a lot of ways, because it seems like you're looking to, like you have no choice to, because of your nature, to do that flip again until you get that riding out moment. But we're kind of contemplating, aren't we, about using that as a tool to promote your charity, to bring better awareness and get more people involved. When you do that flip to promote what disability, is that right?
Yeah. Like, to me, it's not a fearful thing. It's just another thing on the to-do list. There's probably better ways or safer ways. I wouldn't say better, but there's definitely safer ways to do it. Like, you want to do a cycle run or, for 400 kilometers or whatever. I don't know. But there are other ways to get the things out, which I've been, quietly looking at. But yeah, the flip it'd be a major part of a self accomplishment, as well as going, like, it's taken him since 2014,
12 years in the making, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's next year sometime that it happens. I don't know.
It's pretty, and I just need some time in the pit, probably a day or two, and it's like muscle memory. So that's why I backed myself in May when I snapped my femur. I was like, muscle memory, I haven't done it for 10 years.
Yeah, so just so everyone knows, we were in the early stages of, because I filmed with you a couple of years ago at another time in your life with the intention of making a documentary, but then recently you had this resurgence of wanting to tackle that flip again. And that just sort of came about, just so the audience is aware, it kind of came about as we started, like, having more serious conversations with you about getting the Screen Queensland involvement and making a feature film about your story and your journey. And entering a development phase for your project. And then I'm not ready yet, don't have access to a crew. And then Andy's like, hey, just let you know, I'm going to go practice this flip on the weekend. And I'm like, okay, practice. Okay, so yeah. We're just going to go practice. I'm thinking, okay, there's a foam pit. That must be it. And where was it? Boona or something. So like, I had like something scheduled that day, so I've cleared my plans, and I've thought, okay, well, if Andy's doing these like practice flips, like I want to get some footage of that. I'll just take the camera I've got, my personal camera with me, and film this. So anyway, I turn up, and then I see this gigantic ramp and this gigantic, like, apparently, like, for practicing, this gigantic inflatable ramp that is not. It's a rev. It's a down rev. It felt like it's like 4.5 meters high. There's this giant thing. The ramps, when I stood near them, I was getting anxiety, goosebumps. Like, just like, these things are giant, like towering above me. And it was meant, you kind of sold me on the idea of it being a like a practice, but it wasn't really a practice, was it? It didn't feel like that to me anyway, from someone who doesn't know what it is. And so yeah, you reattempted to flip that day.
I wanted to. Remember the bike?
Oh, sorry, that's the other day. Yeah, sorry, I skipped past that part. Yeah, there was the day where same location, but the anticipation, the build up to that thing too, and then the bike wouldn't start, and then it was like a few hours of like pulling the bike apart in the sun, like, oh, it's not starting, and I'm sitting there thinking like going back to what what the people were thinking when you did the flip of it originally, I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, is Andy gonna
just send it, mate?
Like, is he gonna like just throw himself in the air like that today? I'm thinking, I'm like, and then when the bike didn't start, I was like, okay, well maybe this is we're holding off now. We've got more time. Like I can get a crew in to film this thing. Yeah, we're doing for time. All right, we're doing all right. So we'll have to wrap this up in a minute, but skipping forward, I think it was a couple of weeks later, another attempt, bike's running sweet, and I'm terrified for you because this isn't a rehearsal, this is a real thing. And you know, you send yourself in the air and my heart stops. Talk to me what happened that day, and we'll briefly touch on, you know, what followed after that, but we might have to leave it there if that's okay, and then we'll come back in another session and we'll cover the rest of this story.
Sure.
Yeah.
So what, May the 3rd or 5th, this year we had was it the pipe sessions, I think, which is like a mini bike FMX live bands show, and it was awesome. We had a bunch of people out there from interstate and different bands, all different companies and businesses with their little stalls. It was a great day. And, you know, the flip, the airbag was there with airbag lander. So it's still a down ramp, but it's just an airbag. Like, things have gotten a lot safer since I was like the original freestyle days. But I've looked at that. I'm like, yeah, all right. Like, muscle memory. I'm like, it's a staunch ramp. Riding past, it's a lot different. Like, the environment's different too. So yeah, there's a lot to take in. And even the freestylers didn't ride. There was a lot of things that just weren't happening. I'm like, oh, I'm meant to be doing it in the late afternoon, and they're bringing me up a couple of hours earlier.
That's right. Yeah, they're like, oh, not enough riders turned up to fill the schedule. So like, hey, Andy, we're moving you up a couple of hours.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. It is what it is.
Like, not that it's anyone's fault, but it just throws you off, right? Yeah.
No, it's just another, like,
because you also, like, with the original flip, like, you needed to wait for the universe to tell you you're ready, and then it's all of a sudden you have to perform on a dime type thing. Yeah. And
I was okay with that. Like, yep, I'll geared up. And I took a lot of the back brake wasn't working, so that was something that to take into consideration. To if you over rotate, you can hit the back brake and it slows you down, slows the rotation down. So anyway,
and before you were talking about that pinpoint precision, you need to be focusing on when you need to see the wheel come just off the ramp, and then you need to go right back, and how long it took you to finesse that to get that timing right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the lead up to it, it was no preparation. Yeah, none. Just physically fit, but no preparation in the foam pit. If I had the opportunity, for sure I would have done it. Didn't present itself, or I didn't create it. So yeah, we're doing it. Straight to the lander, and I rode around, and I was just taking some run ups towards the ramp. I knew that with and the clutch as well. So normally you'd hold the clutch in and like you'd have the clutch in, and then when you let it out, you feel the bike grab. So that's the pace that I was using at the first 10 years ago. So that's
the touch and the feel you need.
Yeah, you're just riding out of the clutch, just before stall really. And at the bottom of the ramp, you're already picking speed up, and then you wide open throttle. So you're launching yourself up and back instead of into the ramp. So you carry too much speed, you're already preloading the suspension. It's already creating a lot more force. And yeah, the run up towards the Boona one on May the 5th this year. I just had a longer run up. That's all. And then that with the anticipation of, you know, whatever's happening in front of all these people, I took probably 8 run ups, maybe 7 run ups. But yeah, you're just picking up a little bit, carrying a bit more speed just to get it done. Like I'm keen to get it done. I'm fucking excited, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, you're back in your happy spot. Clarity. Yeah. And each time I was coming towards, I'm like, too fast. No, too fast. Andy, you're getting excited, mate. Just chill, relax. I'm like, I'm trying, man. And then, yeah, by the time you try and work the clutch out of burr, 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 that's what it should have been. But I was carrying speed well past that. So well past it. It's not too much, but it's enough to create a lot of compact, like compression within the suspension.
Too much forces going on at that point in the movement.
Yeah, into the front, into the front of the ramp instead of going up the ramp. So then when I've leant forward, because once again your chest is over the petrol tank, because you're preloading on the front, you're going forward, and when you're laying back, you've got as much leverage as possible. Instead of like if you're upright, you've only got a little bit. Yeah, so I've done that, and when I've watched the front wheel come off, I've pulled myself back, but you're carrying too much speed, so the throttle hand blew off again. The left hand stuck on like glue.
And we've spoken before how bad it is when that blows off, when your hand blows off in those circumstances.
Yeah, well, you've lost control of everything. You've lost your leverage. You've lost your rotation, pitch, and everything. So, blew off. Started under flipping, which was pretty cool. Like I was like, oh yeah, I'm under flipping. So I've reached back to grab onto the throttle, got a handful, and it sort of looked like an underflip, sort of looked like a 360. But I bounced off the top, not too bad, like landed on the side.
Yeah, because I've got a footage of it where you're strapped to the bike. The bike lands, but then it starts like tumbling, but you're attached to the bike, tumbling with the weight of that bike and thrown around.
Yeah, a bit ragdolly, hey. And then when I've come over, my head, the slow mo actually shows my head in the blow up lander, and you can't see my head, like it's below, but my leg is still over the bike, over that edge. So I think what's happened is like my right leg foot has come up and locked between that bar that protects my legs.
Yeah, I remember seeing it, thinking it looked like a Brazilian jiu-jitsu like heel hook
for sure,
like the way it pulled on your leg. And I'm so sorry, we're gonna have to wrap this up because we ran out of time. But that ends up breaking your femur. That ends up becoming a situation where you're in hospital with internal bleeding. That ends up, I think from the X-ray, like the broken femur had actually slidden up and it was pressing against your femoral artery. So like you're very lucky to be alive. And when we come back in the next part 2 of this, we'll dive into this much deeper, like what happened on that day and what happened in the following few days and months of that. But it was a lot, and you've been through a lot with that recovering from that crash, to say the least. And let's wrap this up here, and we'll come back to this in a part 2. But what I think I want to leave this with is, you felt that you want to finish that ride out. You want to do that. You need to complete that to be sort of at peace with everything there. And although there's, you've attempted it again, there was 2 attempts, the bike didn't start the first time. We've come back a couple of weeks later. Things didn't go quite right there, which resulted in like some pretty serious injuries and near fatal circumstances. How are you feeling about that flip now? And what are your plans for the future?
No, it's all the same. Probably a little bit more preparation. You pick apart what you learned and bit of prep into a foam pit or of sorts. Maybe a smaller bike to the airbag lander. Yeah.
You're going to break it down in some smaller steps, but you are you have the intention of going back out there and doing that again with the intention of riding out.
It's like my art. It's like my quiet space. It's my art form. Yeah, I like freestyle motocross, and you could change the sport, and I'm still am, even from a wheelchair. And it's my piece, even though it's chaotic. But like I'm there, I'm like, well, nothing else is really affecting me. It's not necessary. Nothing is like right here, right now is absolutely paramount for survival and just living like I love it. So,
and Andy, that's why I think that is absolutely necessary to tell your story and document this part of your life and let people know about the incredible things you're doing, not only as an individual but also as a member of the disability community, the PSI community, spinal cord injury community, and just for everyone in general. I think that what you're doing there with what disability and the goals you've got and everything you put on the line is just truly inspirational, mate. So thanks for coming in, man. And yeah, we'll do the next one in a couple of weeks.
Mate, the journey's only just beginning, Shannon.
Cheers, dude.
Thanks, fella.